In the news this week, push for voice to WA Parliament continues as talks begin on petition amidst strong public opposition according to opinion poll. A WA News exclusive.
Also tonight, the Metronet Armadale line reopened after 2 years of rebuilding. We got on board for the first historic ride. The Crown Jewel, WWE and John Cena's global retirement tour in Perth sparked a nationwide frenzy. And later, Dr. Andrew Miller's comment.
This is The Evening News with Ivan Loon and Maliva Thorne.
Good evening. The campaign from First Nations elders and leaders pushing for a voice to Parliament in Western Australia continues, with conversations of launching a petition to the state legislature. It comes 2 weeks after Indigenous elders announced plans to push for a treaty and a third chamber with veto powers. At the same time, a large majority of viewers are against establishing a state voice. Paige Reid has this exclusive report.
Over the last 2 weeks, we asked viewers if they supported a second voice to Parliament following First Nations elders proposing a treaty, which includes a third chamber with veto power for WA. The latest poll numbers show that only 15% of viewers supported a state-based voice, with 82% saying it should not be done at all. A further 3% are saying it should only happen federally. WA Greens leader Brad Pettit says he supports a state-level voice, saying it would give Aboriginal people a stronger voice without changing the constitution. He called for the state government to approach the topic from a softer place, saying that it could show self-determination at a smaller scale.
Well, I think it is giving a stronger say to Aboriginal people, and I think that there's good reason for exploring that. I mean, there's no doubt that the important work that was done by the Uluru Statement around treaty, around truth-telling and voice is unfinished. And I think it'd be fantastic if we actually looked at that from a WA perspective. We've seen really good leadership in Victoria on this in recent days, and I think it's time for WA to step up as well.
Despite the poll numbers, however, Pettit says the current system is not working and new ideas need to be explored in order to improve outcomes for First Nations people.
Surely we all agree that the current approach to improving the conditions for Aboriginal people in this country isn't working. And surely it's time that we tried other ways that give Aboriginal people a stronger voice or self-determination, actually, so we can get these changes. We are currently throwing billions of dollars at a problem, and I think we can see that the results aren't working as well as many of us would hope. There's a huge opportunity here to start to think creatively about how we might do things differently. And I would say that no one's changing the Constitution here, and I get that's what people voted against. What we're talking about here is actually, are there ways through legislation that we can actually give a stronger Aboriginal voice, get better outcomes for Aboriginal people in this country, but actually, and make all of it, help heal our country.
Dr. Pettit has mentioned he has spoken to First Nations leader Megan Cracker about a possible petition to Parliament and has said he will support her once ready.
But that would require constitutional change, and I suspect that that's probably going to be, for some, and I imagine for the majority in the Parliament, a step too far. But I think what we need to, and what I hope this petition can do at the very least, is start to get truth-telling back on the table, a stronger voice around actually making sure Aboriginal people are better in charge of affairs that impact on them, and actually start the healing process.
Following the failure of the federal referendum, both Victoria and South Australia state governments have passed their own voice to Parliament, which saw a treaty also established. Whilst the WA public remains divided, the conversation about the voice and how to give Aboriginal people a stronger say is far from over. Paige Reid, WAMN News.
It's a jubilant yet historic weekend in Perth as the Armadale and Byford train line reopens. The 2-year reconstruction project marks a significant improvement in public transport for Perth's growing southeastern suburbs. It also marks the completion of the Cook Labor government's Metronet public transport project. Our reporter Steve Anderson rode the first train today.
After almost 2 years of reconstruction, the train line from Cunnington to Armadale is back in service with an additional new station, Byford, added to the rebuilt Armadale line. Earlier this morning, Premier Roger Cook, Deputy Premier Rita Safiotti, Federal Minister Catherine King and other VIPs rode the first train from Armadale to Byford. The new 8-kilometre-long extension to Byford marks the final piece of the Labor government's Metronet rail network project.
Metronet has transformed the face of Perth. It has transformed the way people live, the way they move around, the way they access education, the way they access training, the way they access jobs. And this is such an important part of this incredible public transport program, which will be a legacy of the WA Labor government.
It is an enormous engineering effort, extraordinary, and the construction workers of WA should be so proud of the legacy that they have left the communities for this built infrastructure.
After more than 40 years, the electric train is back in Byford. The Australian service will not be available until February of next year. Rail enthusiasts from around the city took the opportunity this weekend to catch the historic first ride.
I have been waiting for a very long time because I am a local here in Armadale, and when this does open, I'm going to be using it to catch the train to and from work and so on.
We're just here to enjoy the celebration of the new line after it was closed for 2 years.
The government also responded to the opposition's comments on the safety of the Metronet C train, which was assembled in Western Australia. The Deputy Premier says the criticism is nothing but an insult to the top-notch craftsmanship of Western Australian workers.
Look, I just find it quite bizarre that somehow the Liberal Party is arguing for foreign-made trains. That's what they're doing. So the question for them is, are they going to rip up the contract? If they don't believe in locally made trains, are they going to rip up the contract should they win in 3.5 years? The Liberal Party never believes in WA. They're not insulting this government, they're insulting the workers and the small businesses. Hoffman Engineering, for example, a world-renowned engineering firm, they're criticising.
Steve Anderson, WAMN News.
Huge crowds gathered in Perth City this weekend as WWE fans turn out to see their favourite superstars and witness the start of John Cena's boxing retirement journey. The first stage event was packed with supporters, cheering, booing and waving signs for fighters including AJ Styles, Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Vega. At one point, Rhea Ripley and Grayson Waller drank from a shoe, sending fans into a frenzy. The WWE merchandise store was also filled with fans spending their hard-earned money to snap up memorabilia of their favorite wrestlers. Major events such as WWE Friday Night SmackDown, WWE Crown Jewel Perth, and WWE Monday Night Raw marked Perth's success as the only city hosting these shows, drawing record crowds and delivering a major economic boost to Western Australia.
The WA government has launched the Urban Connect Shared Equity program to help more Western Australians buy homes and increase housing supply. Premier Roger Cook and Deputy Premier Rita Saffioti announced the $210 million Key Start initiative in Cannington, offering up to 1,000 loans for new apartments and townhouses worth up to $730,000. Under the new scheme, the state will take an equity share of up to 35%, with buyers needing only a 2% deposit and paying lower monthly repayments. Mr Cook said the program delivers on an election promise to improve housing affordability, while Ms Saffioti said it supports both home ownership and construction across WA. The initiative is part of broader Key Start measures, including the Build to Rent Kickstart Fund and new modular, graduate and apprentice loans.
A 41-year-old Barrajura man has been charged after a police chase through multiple suburbs. Detectives from the Rapid Apprehension Squad says the incident followed the theft of a green Mitsubishi Triton, stolen during a burglary in Barrajura between Tuesday and Wednesday morning. Around 8 a.m. on Thursday, officers spotted the stolen ute on Yirragan Drive in Mirrabooka and tried to pull it over. Police allege the driver sped off, leading them on a chase through Mirrabooka and Balcatta. They also allege the man drove recklessly, running red lights, speeding, and at times travelling on the wrong side of the road. The chase ended on Delorney Street in Balcatta, where the ute stopped and the man was arrested. He faced 8 charges including stealing, reckless driving, possessing meth, and attempting to evade police. The man appeared on the Perth Magistrates Court on Friday.
The Multicultural Services Centre of WA has launched a Palestine reconstruction appeal to support UNICEF's relief efforts in Gaza following the recent peace accord between Israel and Hamas. MSCWA Chair Sheila Rajan said the organisation is not taking sides but acting on its constitutional commitment to humanitarian aid. MSCWA CEO Ramdas Sankaran condemned the October 7 Hamas attacks as abhorrent and indefensible, but said the resulting famine and destruction in Gaza are unacceptable. West Australians are encouraged to donate to MSCWA natural disasters. Ms Rajan said MSCWA will cover all administrative costs and is working with multicultural communities and organisations to raise funds for a new fundraising committee.
So this appeal, was initially, we were thinking of launching it when the United Nations declared famine in Gaza, but this is a much better opportunity to do it because it does really give the United Nations and other bodies the opportunity, with the monies collected, to commence the reconstruction of Gaza.
And now here's Dr. Andrew Miller with his weekly medical and news commentary.
Hi, thanks for your time. I was up in Singapore last week and I always have a good time when I'm there, mainly because of the food, of course, but also because of the people. I find it very welcoming and friendly and very tolerant of people from all different nationalities and backgrounds, and I think that that's a really important thing to reflect on at the moment, that that's not necessarily the case all around the world. Singapore has been a leader in Asia and the world in science and technology, and we're grateful for the contribution that they've made to the medical sciences. And I think they also have a pretty good approach to their public health. Lots of people wearing masks when they're unwell in public places or when they're on public transport. And that's something that Australians can learn from in all respects. I really think that we need to have a bit more respect for other people in our community rather than just insisting on our own point of view. And we do need to be more careful when we're out and about and just mindful of those who are vulnerable, whether they're the very young, the very old, or those with some kind of immune problem due to treatment for cancer or whatever. We need to keep our illnesses to ourselves. We learnt that during the pandemic, but there's been a bit of a pushback around having to control for those kind of things. Understandably, people got a bit fatigued by it all, but that's no real excuse to expose someone else to an illness that they don't need to get. So whether you're on a plane or a bus or anywhere else, if you're feeling a bit crook, keep it to yourself. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, speaking of the WWE SmackDown, Ivan, are you going to be going?
No, I wish I had the time. I understand you aren't going, but I know your friends are going. They must be very excited.
Yes, a few of my friends are. I'm not going to be going, but I'm looking forward to hearing about their experience.
Come on, you're not really into the SmackDown thing, eh?
No, I'm not into the wrestling, I must confess, but I am looking forward to hearing all about their experience at this special event. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website, wamnews.com.au.
Subscribe to WAMN Extra News Club so we can continue our work in the community. Full details on wamnews.com.au/news/extra. From Melanie Page, Peter and myself, wish you good health, good night. See you next Sunday.
Thanks for watching.